1 year ago today, Trump stood in the White House Rose Garden and called it Liberation Day. He declared a national economic emergency, announced the most sweeping tariffs in nearly a century, and promised that he was going to make America wealthy again by taxing foreign goods and bringing manufacturing jobs flooding back home. He told Americans the pain would be temporary and the payoff would be enormous. Today, exactly 1 year later, the data is in, and it is brutal. Factory jobs are down. Consumer prices are up. The manufacturing boom never came. And now, layered on top of all of that, a war in Iran has sent gas prices soaring to the highest level in 4 years. The American economy is being hit from multiple directions at once, and the people feeling it hardest are the very working-class Americans Trump promised he would help. Let us start with the tariffs themselves, because this story begins a year ago, on April 2, 2025. Trump stood in the Rose Garden and declared a national emergency over America's chronic trade deficit. Using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, known as IEEPA, he imposed a universal 10% tariff on all imports from virtually every country in the world, and then stacked higher country-specific tariffs on top of that for about 60 major trading partners. He called it Liberation Day. He said foreign nations would finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to the American market. He told workers that factories would come roaring back, that jobs would return, and that the trade deficit would shrink. Economists across the spectrum immediately sounded alarms. They warned the tariffs would raise prices for American consumers, suppress investment, and risk tipping the country into recession. Trump dismissed their warnings and pressed forward. Here is what actually happened. The tariff policy changed more than 50 times between Liberation Day and the end of 2025, with rates going up, then down, then up again, with exemptions being added and removed with no consistent pattern. The resulting uncertainty paralyzed businesses that were trying to plan for the future. Investment stalled, hiring slowed. And then, in February 2026, the United States Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that IEEPA does not actually authorize the imposition of tariffs, striking down the core legal mechanism Trump had used to impose most of those sweeping duties. That ruling launched a massive and legally unprecedented process of issuing refunds to importers who had paid those tariffs. That process is ongoing right now, tangled in courts and bureaucratic complexity. But here's the critical thing Americans need to understand. Just because the Supreme Court struck down those tariffs does not mean the economic damage went away. The prices that rose are not falling. The jobs that were lost have not come back. And the costs that were passed on to consumers over the past year are still sitting in their monthly budgets. One economist at Case Western University put it plainly. Between 90 and 95% of the tariff costs were essentially passed directly on to consumers through higher prices. The relief that was promised never arrived. The numbers tell the story clearly. From February 2025 to January 2026, the average American household paid an extra $1,700 directly attributable to tariffs. In a January 2026 survey by the Council on Foreign Relations, more than 65% of Americans reported that the tariffs made a wide range of everyday goods less affordable. Research from the Pricing Lab at Harvard found that tariff costs passed through to retail prices contributed a cumulative 0.76 percentage points to Consumer Price Index inflation. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell himself acknowledged in a press conference that elevated inflation readings in recent months are largely attributable to the effects of tariffs. That is the head of the Federal Reserve directly attributing inflation to Trump's trade policy. And manufacturing, the central promise of the entire tariff agenda, the sector that was supposed to boom? According to a detailed analysis by the Center for American Progress, the cumulative loss in manufacturing jobs since Liberation Day is equivalent to the closure of approximately 2,800 average-sized factories across the United States. The manufacturing industry lost jobs in nearly every single month following Liberation Day. Overall, the United States lost 89,000 manufacturing jobs and 123,700 transportation and warehousing jobs in the 10 months following the tariff announcement. Those are the industries that were supposed to benefit most from this policy. Instead, they contracted. Foreign direct investment into the United States, which Trump promised would surge in response to the tariffs, actually fell below the prior 10-year average in 2025. The manufacturing boom that was promised has not materialized, not even close. Washington Post analysis published this week on the one-year anniversary of Liberation Day put it simply: factory jobs are down and inflation is up. That is the one-year report card on the central economic promise of Trump's second term. More than 20 trading partners did agree to open their markets somewhat to American goods after Trump's tariff threats, and the chronic trade deficit did decline for 10 consecutive months. Those are real results worth acknowledging. But they came at the cost of 89,000 manufacturing jobs, higher prices for virtually every American consumer, a legal defeat at the Supreme Court, and an economy operating under persistent uncertainty and disruption. Now on to the emergency announcement that is compounding all of this. On top of everything the tariff fallout has already done to the American economy, Trump this week moved to impose a new round of tariffs on 60 trading partners under a declared national economic emergency, this time using different legal authority after the IEEPA ruling. The Tax Foundation estimates these new tariffs amount to the largest United States tax increase as a percentage of GDP since 1993, adding an average tax burden of approximately $1,500 per American household in 2026 alone. That number stacks on top of the $1,000 burden already imposed in 2025. In 2 years, the average American family will have paid an additional $2,500 in higher costs directly attributable to Trump's tariff policies on top of everything else. And everything else right now includes a war. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively shut down since Iran closed it in response to Operation Epic Fury. Gas prices hit $4.01 per gallon this week, the highest level since 2022, up from $2.98 just a month ago. Diesel prices are sitting at $5.45 per gallon, a 45% increase in a single month. Energy costs are feeding directly into the price of food, shipping, construction, and agriculture. The OECD is projecting United States inflation at 4.2% for 2026. Goldman Sachs has upgraded its oil price forecast to an average of $110 per barrel through April. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink warned this week that oil could hit $150 a barrel, which would likely trigger a global recession. What this means for the average American family is not abstract. The Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research calculated that if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed through early April and crude oil stays around $110 a barrel, the average American household could pay $740 more for gas through the end of this year. Add that to the $1,500 in new tariff-related costs, and you are looking at an American family potentially paying over $2,000 additional dollars this year alone, before accounting for higher food prices, higher shipping costs, higher electricity costs, and the broader inflationary effects of all of these pressures compounding on top of each other. The broader economic signals are deeply worrying. Consumer confidence dropped to its lowest level since 2021 in March, according to the Conference Board. Public approval of Trump's handling of the economy now sits at just 37%, according to polling.
Oxford Economics cut its global industrial growth forecast to 2.5% this year and warned of supply chain disruptions comparable to those seen during COVID-19. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics, warned that if trade retaliations escalate further, a recession would likely reduce United States GDP by 2% and push unemployment to 7.5%. Even Trump's own Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, has been warning trading partners not to retaliate, which signals that the administration itself understands just how fragile the economic situation is. There is also the growing concern about whether ordinary Americans are being targeted by forces beyond just policy decisions. Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman raised a stunning accusation this week, pointing out that approximately $580 million in oil futures changed hands in a single minute, roughly 15 minutes before Trump posted on Truth Social that productive conversations with Iran were underway, causing oil prices to drop. Krugman used the word treason to describe a situation in which someone with advanced knowledge of national security decisions exploits that information for financial profit. That allegation has not been dismissed by serious market analysts and continues to demand answers. Here is the picture as it stands today, exactly 1 year after Liberation Day. Trump promised Liberation Day would make America wealthy. 1 year later, factory jobs are down by nearly 100,000. Consumer prices are 2% higher from tariffs alone. A war he launched has sent gas to $4 a gallon and diesel to $5.45. The OECD is projecting 4.2% inflation. Goldman Sachs says oil could hit $150 a barrel and trigger a global recession. The Supreme Court struck down the legal basis for most of the original tariffs, and new tariffs are now adding another $1,500 of annual cost per American household. That is the brutal news arriving at the 1-year mark of the biggest economic policy gamble in a generation. The question now is not whether this approach worked. The data has already answered that. The question is how much more the American people will pay before a different course is taken.